All right. Good morning. My name's Katie Baugh, and I actually live north of y'all, way north of y'all in Weatherford, Texas, and I'm just west of Fort Worth. So I'm on the same time zone, so that's always a good thing. Today I'm going to be going through our CSS demo. You may hear me say CSS or Citizen Self-Service. We are in the middle of a rebranding process at Tyler Technologies, and you may also hear me refer to it as Civic Access. Those are the same exact thing. It's just the Civic Access is the rebranded name of Citizen Self-Service. So just in case you hear me say both of those, that's why, and that's what they both mean exactly the same thing. So I'm a trainer and I'm a curriculum developer. I used to be a former teacher actually before I did this, and but now I train and I love Tyler Technologies and I love their software. So I'm going to walk you through some of the citizen self-service things we have today. I do have a few requests I want to go through first. I'm going to keep everybody muted. That's just so we don't have any distractions or anything, that pops in and you can't hear. So please keep yourself muted. If you do have questions, please type those in chat. I will be looking at the chat periodically, and I'll be stopping for questions as well. So you can type those in your chat. Um, and please remember that this is a demo, so things could be adjusted, slightly before we go live. Um, but mostly it would be to fix anything we see that's not working properly or to make things better. And also remember, I'm a trainer. I don't know all the business processes. I just know my software. So I just ask those reminders and requests. But let's go ahead and start looking at our citizen self-service. So here we have that website, and this is what it looks like right now. Okay. You'll notice in the top right corner that I am not signed in. I'm currently a guest, which means that I'm not signed in as my registered user. So once a user comes to the website, I'm going to show you kind of what they can do without logging in first. And then I will log in and I'll show you the application process and what that looks like once you're logged in. So we have the top bar here. Okay, you have a help button that they can click if they need help. Clicking home will bring you back to this page that has the little tiles on it. Okay, apply. This is where you can apply. However, since I'm not logged in, it will not let me apply for anything. If I were to try to apply for something, I would need to register and log in. So keep that in mind. Today's inspections, if I'm not logged in, I'm not really going to be able to see a whole lot here. I may be able to see a few things, but I'm not going to be able to see any of my inspections unless I log into my registered user. The map, I can click on the map and it will bring up your map. And so it just shows this county map that we have. You can search addresses and parcels here. You can also use your current location if you want to. Some of the things on this map that you can do is you can search. You can also pick a point on the map, and if you double click, it will zoom in. And if there's any information that's associated with that area, it will pop up and tell you. You have some other things that you can do here as well, such as drawing shapes on the map. You can highlight certain areas, that kind of thing. Again, it's not going to save anything. It's not going to do anything because I'm not logged in, but I can access it. On the search, this is going to allow me to search public records. So if I have public records available, I can search those here. Anything having to do with code enforcement or code related is usually hidden. And so they won't be able to just, if somebody reports someone for a code violation, they won't be able to go in and search for that. But they can search for other things like pending permits and that kind of thing. And they can also search and sort their search by permit, plan, inspection, or project. If you're searching within this search bar, if you don't want it to search for the exact phrase that you're looking for, you want to click this box off. because anything you search in here, and if you have this clicked on, it's going to search for that exact phrase, not just keywords. Okay, you can search by clicking the little search button with the magnifying glass, and you can reset your search by clicking the reset button. Up here at the top on this bar, we also have the calendar. Okay, you can get to this calendar before you log in. Anything pertaining to you as a user in this CSS system will not show up on your calendar unless you are logged in. So really this calendar is only showing what the county has posted as far as public hearings, meetings, and then holidays. So those are what I can access. You'll notice I'll show you once I log in that there's going to be some things added here that you can see. So going back over to the left on the help button, if I'm not logged in and I click help, it's going to load the help page and it's going to give me some more information that might be helpful to me while I am using the CSS website. So you'll see there's some development and building guides. There's also the development and building brochure here, and there's some other information that the county has provided. Okay, let me let that person in real quick. So going back, and if I want to go back to the calendar that I was on, I can just click on this little tab X right here, and it will take me back to this calendar. Okay, again, if I click the home button, it's going to just take me here to my tiles. Okay, the tiles that we have available down here at the bottom are apply. Again, you cannot apply for anything until you've registered as a user, which I'll explain and show you in a moment. And it will tell you you have to log in order to do that. You have a tile here about Cameron County's rules and regulations. So it says click to access the building and development guide. So that could be helpful to you as a resource if you need it. You can search public records by clicking on this tile. I also showed you the search up here. They're the same thing. So they take you to the same place. It's just two different buttons. If I want to log in and register, excuse me, I can do that from this tile right here. And so I can log in if I already have an account, or I can create a new account if I need to. There's also a button for help if you forget your password. It will send you an email prompting you to reset your password. So you have that as well. If you need to pay an invoice, you have several ways to do that through this Civic Access or CSS website. You can use this tile right here to pay an invoice. Now, in order for it to know invoices that pertain to you, you're going to have to log in first. So if I try to pay an invoice now, it's not really going to do anything because it doesn't know what invoices I have until I'm logged in. Okay, I can also access that map that I accessed up here on the bar. I can access that as well from down here, from this tile if I need to. So I just wanted to show you, if I go to apply right now and I'm not logged in, let's say I want to apply for a residential renovation, it's going to prompt me to log in. And you'll notice that when I get to this screen, it also has these links down here. Forgot my password. I can click this button. It will send me an email to reset it. If I forgot my username, I can click this to have it send me my username through my email. And if I don't have an account yet, it will prompt me to register here. So I want to show you what it looks like if you're registering. I already have one here, so I'm going to get rid of mine. Okay, but it starts out with your email address and then it's going to take you through a process. And that process is going to be started from here. So if I added in another email address, I have several just kind of junk emails that I use in this situation for training. It's going to prompt me to check my email. It's going to send me a confirmation email link in the body of my email, and it's going to then bring me back to this site to fill in the rest of my personal information. It lets you fill in your email address, your phone number. It doesn't require all of that information, but it gives you the opportunity to. Once you have your account set up, then you're ready to be able to log in and access everything that's available through Citizen Self-Service. So before I log in the chat, I know some people have just joined us. If you'll just keep yourselves muted, and if you have any questions, feel free to post those in the chat. So if you have a question about what I've talked about so far or registering, feel free to enter those questions. But I'm going to go ahead and log in so that I can show you, once you log in, how it changes your access. So when I click login, I have it saved under a different email, so I'm going to just ignore that. This is what it autofilled my email and my password because I told it to remember me, and I used Google Chrome, and that's what we recommend as a browser that you use. Our products work best on Google Chrome. So if you save your passwords, it will autofill for you like mine did. And I just click the login button. Now, once I log in, you'll notice the bar is looking a little bit different. Okay, it's kind of expanded a little bit here. It's added a couple of buttons, and you'll notice that it brought me straight to my dashboard. So my dashboard is where I'm going to access, once I log in, all of my records and applications that I've done through the CSS website. So you can see right now I've got some permits, I've got some plans, I've got some inspections, and I've got some invoices here. So I want to just explain briefly in this dashboard what these different tiles mean and what you can access here. The attention tile, if it's under permits, it's only going to pertain to permits. So these are the permit tiles. If it's under plans, it's only going to pertain to plans, and so on. If it's under the attention tile, this is telling me that I have something on my end as a citizen, as a user of CSS, that I need to take care of and that I need to do. So that could be something like an unpaid fee. That could be holds, if there's a hold put on a record that I have or an application that I've put in. If I have any failed reviews and I need to resubmit documents, and that will get my attention here as well. If I have any e-review file submissions, so if I had submitted, let's say, a floor plan and I submitted the wrong one and they're going to send me back a message and say I need to resubmit, this would show up under my attention. Okay, and you're going to notice it also gives me a little list down here, and it's going to tell me what records I have, what types of records I have that need my attention. It's not really going to tell me why until I click on this attention tile. You'll notice up at the bar, we were in the dashboard, but now that I've clicked on that tile, it's pushed me over to my work. Okay, so from this screen, what I can do is access what needs my attention. So here I can see these are the permits that need my attention. These are the permit numbers. I can click on these links and open the actual records as well. If these permits were associated with a particular project, then that project would be named here in this column. So sometimes that will happen if you have permits that you want kind of lumped together by project. You have the choice to do that once you're applying and setting these up. In the address, it will tell you what address these are all for, and you can see these are all for the same address. It will tell you the permit type, so you can see exactly the permit type. The permit type is going to be right here at the top. The new non-residential construction is what we would call the work class. So you have your permit type, and under that you have your work class, which is just a little bit more of a detailed, specific description of what kind of permit this is. Okay, the status, it will tell you what status you're in with this permit. And so you can see this one has a stop work order. That means nothing's going to continue until you take care of what needs to be taken care of over here under the state column. So you can see on this one, it's grabbing my attention, it's recent, it's pending, but it's on hold. And the reason is right here, unpaid fees. So if I want to take care of that, I can click this link and it will take me to where I can pay my fees for this permit. And you're going to notice on my other permits, here's the other record numbers I have. Same thing, you can put in a project if you want to, the address, the permit type, the status, and you'll see all of these. The reason they need attention is because they have unpaid fees. If there was something else that needed your attention, you would also get a link here that would take you straight to where you can fix that issue. If I wanted to export this list to Excel, I could do so by clicking the Export to Excel button. I can also navigate from this screen right here. I can navigate with these tabs, and I can get to my invoices by clicking this tab. I'm already on my permits, but I could, if I clicked off of my permits and I went to my invoices, I can click back and I can go to my permits. Okay. I can also access my plans from here and my existing inspections. So let's look at the invoices tab. Here I have my various invoices that are due. Okay, it gives me the invoice number. If I click the link, it will open up and let me see that actual invoice. It tells me the invoice number, it tells me the total, the status. If there's a description, this one doesn't have a description, so it says none. The invoice date is the date the invoice was created, and then the due date when it's due. From here, I can choose to print this invoice if I want to print this for my records. I can also add it to my cart to pay in a moment. If I add something to my cart to access my cart, you see this little shopping cart way up here in the top right. That is where I can access my cart. Right now it has a 0 next to it because I don't have anything in there currently. This is going to also show you more detailed information about the fees that are due and what records they're coming from. So you can see I have 2 case numbers here that these fees have come from and that they're both from a plan case type. Okay, if there are any notes on these fees, it will tell you in this column here. So you can see this top one doesn't have a note, it's empty. The one underneath does and says improvement value. If I had multiple pages of fees or invoices here, I could navigate by clicking these arrow buttons. Since I only have one page here available, I can't click those buttons because there's only one page. From here, I can also access, these are my primary fees. If there were any miscellaneous fees added, such as late fees or any other types of fees that might be added, they would show here and tell you what record they're associated with. If I've made any payments, my receipt number will be here, my status, the transaction type, my payment type, payment amount, and payment date. So it gives me all of that information here, and I would be able to access my receipt here if I needed to. Under attachments, if for some reason I needed to attach something to this invoice, because this is the invoice I'm in, I could do so here by clicking the plus sign. It would let me attach any file type that is available and supported down here. So it tells you. The last tab on this one is contacts. So any contacts that are associated to this invoice, and it's usually going to be automatically your primary billing contact that goes in here first. Later on, if other billing contacts are added, then those would show up as well. But usually you're going to have one in here as the billing contact, and that is who's going to be responsible for this invoice. Okay. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to keep going unless we have any questions that are typed in. All right, so I see this question related to CCD as well, or just Department of Transportation. This is all of Cameron County's, basically their land development, their permits, their plans. This is connected straight to the county and their back office system as well. I think that's what you're asking. Um, Continuing on, so if I continue, I'm going to go back to this My Work section because that's what we were working in and we had looked at an invoice. If I want to choose multiple invoices here, I can add to cart once I have clicked those. And you'll see it makes this button a darker blue, meaning that I can click it. So if I click these invoices and I want to pay these invoices, I can add those 3 to my cart. The other ones will still be here. I just am not paying them at this time because I'm not adding them to my cart at this time. If I want to decide, oh no, I don't want to pay one, I can just click the little checkbox to uncheck it and it will take that payment out of my cart. Okay. You can also filter how you want to display your invoice numbers or your invoices. So right now I have unpaid. I can also show any that I have paid, or I could show if I have any that have been voided. I can also be a little more specific if I want to. Let's say I want to look at all of the unpaid and I want to look at all of the unpaid just involving permits. Then I can filter that here, and this is only going to show me my unpaid permit invoices. So it gives me that list there. If in these columns you might see these kind of little funnel looking icons, these little icons basically allow you to filter and to sort through. If you have many invoices listed here, then you could do that. And you can change it to values that are equal to a certain amount. You can change it to um, you can really filter by almost any way here. If you want to clear your filter, you can do that by clicking clear and it will go back to how it was before. You can also sort and filter by date. You can also do status, and it will give you some check boxes here to sort by status. You can sort by case number, and you can sort by address. So those are some of the sorting things you can do here. So that's the Invoices tab under My Work. If I go to my permits, it's going to show me all of my permit records that pertain to me as a logged in user. And again, this is what needs my attention, so it's going to show me that what needs my attention and what state these permits are in. I can also decide if I want to display all, if I want to display active, or so on. I can also basically sort them here by the status they're in. I can sort also by applied, expired, issued, or updated. And I can sort by specific ranges. So I could do the last year, the last 120 days, or if I wanted to do a specified range, I could click here and it would let me put that range in underneath. Okay, I can do the same in plans. So here I've got plans. There's a search bar on each of these if I wanted to search for the record, if I had the record number or I had some keywords that would help me find that record, I could search by typing those in here. I can also sort again by the status. I can sort by the record, if it's applied, completed, expired, updated, and then again by how far back I want to search from. I can also export this list as well into Excel. If I have any existing inspections, I can find those by clicking on this tab. So we can see I have a recurring fire and operational inspection here. If I click this link, it will take me to that fire operational inspection record, and it shows me just the details and the information about that record. If I want to go back, I can go back to my work. I can also click the back button, and it takes me back to where I was. So that is under my work. If I go back to my dashboard, I had clicked on the attention tile, so it was showing me what needs my attention. If there are things that are pending that need to happen in the back office on the county side, those will show here. And if it has something that needs your attention and has something pending, it will be in both. So you can see these are most likely the same sets of permits, but there's something that needs my attention and something that the county's doing. If I have any active permits, that means they've been approved and they're not expired, but they've been issued. They would be right here, and I could find those housed in this active tile. And my recent permits I would see in this tile. You can see there's 5, probably the same ones that I've gotten my attention and pending, but they're also marked as recent because I've done them recently. When I go throughout the application process, and I will show you when we do that in a moment, if I need to step away because maybe I have a meeting or something needs my attention, but I'm in the middle of an application, I can actually save it as a draft. And if I save it as a draft, it's going to be found here in this draft tile. And I will show you that again when we go through our application process in just a moment. If I want to view all of my permits, I can come down here and I can click this little view my permits link, and it will show me a list of all of my permits. Again, it's that same list that I was accessing from my work. Because all the permits I have listed are drawing my attention, and they're recent and they're pending, that is why they're showing up in my dashboard underneath each one of these tiles. Going down, if I have plans, so it's very much the same thing. If I have plans that need my attention, they'll show up here. If I have plans that are pending because something's happening on the county side, they'll show up here. Any active plans I have that have been approved will be here. And notice if I hover over as well, these different tiles, it gives me a little pop-up explaining a little bit more about what that tile is used for. Then I have my recent. Okay, and you'll notice again, I've got the same number and it looks like they're the same records because they're all marked as needing my attention for various reasons. They're pending because the county's working on something from their side as well. And then they're also marked as recent because I've been working on them recently. Again, if I were to save a draft throughout my application process, I could find that draft listed here in this tile. If I want to view all of my plans, I can click this View My Plans button, and it will take me to my work to that My Plans tab again. And this gives you the same information that it did under permits. It's going to have the plan number. If I click on these links, it will take me to those records so that I can see more details about those plans. If these are associated with a project, again, I can do that and it would tell me what project here. By address, it will tell me the addresses, plan types, status. Submitted dash online means it was submitted for, or the plan was submitted on this website on CSS. That's all the online means. If for some reason it was submitted in the back office side on the county side, it would just say submitted here and it would not have the online. And then it tells me the state that this plan is in. So it tells me it's coming under my attention tile, my recent, and my pending, and that I need to take care of on my end the unpaid fees. It's also going to give me the date that these plans were applied for. If there were any expiration dates available, they would show up here. If there was a completed date available, it would show up here. And it will also tell me when was this last updated. So that's at the very end. And it has this slide bar down at the bottom. That's how you can slide across and access those other columns if you need them. Again, I have the export to Excel button if I needed to export this list. I could do so by clicking this button and it would bring up an Excel spreadsheet listing this information. Okay, if I go back to my dashboard, we've talked about permits. We've talked about plans. So now let's talk about this bottom left area here called My Inspections. This is going to give me information on inspections that pertain to my records that I've applied for. So I see I have one that's been requested and it's a site plan or site inspection, excuse me. I see that I have one that's been scheduled and that's my recurring fire operational inspection. And then if I have any that have been completed and closed, I can find those here in the closed area. So if I were to click on the requested means that I have requested this inspection and it's gone to the back office, and now they're either going to confirm that date and time, or they are going to send me the actual scheduled date and time. So if I click on the inspection number, it will open and give me some more details. It shows me the date that I've requested. Okay, it will also show me more information about this inspection record. Shows me what's on the checklist, any fees I may have, and any attachments that might have been put here. I can also add them here if I need to. Okay, so going back, I'm just going back to my dashboard. Again, I'm looking at my inspections. So this one had been requested, which means it's not confirmed yet, and I don't know if that's going to happen for the date or the time I requested. This one has been scheduled. So if I click on this record, this is showing me that this one has actually been scheduled. So I requested the date of September 9th, and they confirmed from the back office that that's when they're going to come. So again, if I wanted to see that record information, I could do that here. It's going to tell me the inspection type, the address, the status, which means it's scheduled, which means it's going to happen. The state is also scheduled. The case number that this inspection is referring to. So I can see this is the case number it's referring to. This is a permit that is in process. Okay, and we can see it's waiting on a couple of unpaid fees, and we also know it's got that inspection scheduled. So if I click on inspections, it's going to give me some more information about those inspections. It's going to tell me what's been scheduled. It's going to tell me if there's a reason I can't request any other inspections. So you can see it tells me I have unpaid fees and I cannot request inspections because it hasn't been issued. Okay, so until that unpaid fees hold is taken off, it won't let me schedule these until the right step in the workflow is happening. You can also see, because I clicked on that record and it brought me to this information, this is what we call the parent record. So any inspections or any other records that fall underneath a permit or a plan record, we call that permit or plan record the parent record. Okay, these would be any sub records. Okay, just a reminder, if you have any questions on what I'm showing, remember that you can type questions in the chat. I'm going to go back to my dashboard. Okay. If I had those closed inspections, again, I could see those here. If I want to view all of my inspections, I can click View My Inspections here. I can also view my invoices. So I can see right now I have 10 current invoices. I can see the total right now. If there are any past due, it will tell me here, and it will tell me how much my amount is that is past due. Again, it gives you a total at the bottom. So if there was a past due amount, it would add that to your current amount and would give you the full total. If I want to pay this, I can click Add to Cart. Okay, and it's going to, first it'll say you don't have anything in your cart, then it will add it. So it's now you can see it's added all of these fees to my shopping cart, and I can pick and choose if I want to remove any. So let's say I'm like, oh, I'm not ready for this larger fee right here, so maybe I want to remove that. It will remove it and then it will adjust your total. Okay. Once you're ready to check out, you would click the checkout button and it would take you to the payment screen. I'm not going to do that since I am on prod. I don't want to accidentally make a payment on anything. So I just wanted to show you that's kind of how you can add those to your cart and then you can check out. And notice here on the shopping cart, it's giving you that information again. If I needed to see that invoice, I could click this link and I could see that invoice. It tells me the due date, description, if there is one available. Um, and then it will also tell me any other information such as the case number, which I could click on this link as well to get to that case. If it was associated with the project, the address, and then the amount. So if I want to, again, remove any of those, I can. If I want to go back to the top of the screen, that's what this top button on each one means. So I can click that, it will take me back to the top. And if I want to go back to the main menu, I can click main menu, which is going to prompt me to just go back to my dashboard. Okay. So before I continue, if there are any questions about payments, please make sure you put them in that chat. Otherwise, I'm going to continue. So the dashboard button is not added until I am logged in as a user. Neither will the My Work. These two are directly related and they will not appear on the bar until you are logged in. So if you're ever, in the website and you're wondering why you can't get to your dashboard, look up in the top right and double check to make sure your name is showing so that you're logged in. Again, if I got out of my cart and I wanted to actually go in and pay those, I could come up here to the very top right and click on my cart and it will take me right back to my cart so that I can check out. Okay. So the home button again is the same once whether you're logged in or not. If I click home, it will take me back to this home screen. Okay, the apply button, now that I am logged in, it will let me apply. So I'm going to show you that in just a moment. We'll come back to this button. My work, I've shown you, directly relates to your dashboard and is just giving you tabs instead of tiles to go through your work. Excuse me. Today's inspections, if I click here, it's going to tell me what inspections are happening, and it gives me that information about time as well. So I can see this one has been scheduled and it was requested. So this one's not fully scheduled, but I requested it. This one down below, the difference is that this one is fully scheduled. Okay, and if they don't put a time in, then they probably have an automation coming that will email you or send you a notification telling you that, hey, this has been scheduled and here is that time. You can also choose, there's a checkbox up here if you want to exclude completed inspections, you can do that here. You can also export the list into Excel by clicking the export button. If you wanted to do a search, you could do that up here in this search bar, and you can search, it tells you in the little text in the search bar that you can search by case number, inspection type, address, and then you can click your little magnifying glass to do the search. If you want it to search for an exact match of what you've put in, then you would check this box on, otherwise you would leave it unchecked. This area right here allows you to search by date. So I have today's date in. If I wanted to look ahead or look maybe for a past one, I could do that by clicking the desired date. Okay. And I can click close if I don't want to do that. All right, continuing, you can also sort by case number, by relevance, and all of these other options for sorting. Okay, so that's just your today's inspections tab. And that's what it looks like once you're logged in. Your view tab, okay, this is just another way that you can access your invoices, your permits, your plans, your existing inspections, and your requested inspections. Or I'm sorry, and to request an inspection. So if I have one that is available for me to request, I can click this link. I can choose the case number. It would show here. All the ones I have in currently are either requested or scheduled, so that's why there's nothing showing right now. But if there was, I could click the little box by the case number and I can click request inspection, which will then let me put in my requested date and time frame. If I needed to search through my requested inspections, I could do that here by searching in this bar. If I wanted to export this list of requested inspections to Excel, I could do so here. And I can also sort and filter by using the little funnels in each column. Okay, so that's just your view. Again, to get to request inspections, you can go to view, inspections, and then request from here. You can also view the existing ones that have either already been requested or scheduled. Okay, from the map, again, it's pretty much the same if you're logged in or not. It's going to show you this map again, and you're going to have the same options that you would if you were not logged in. The search, excuse me, the search is also going to be the same if you're logged in or not, and you can do that public record search from here. Okay, and it has the same options that we've already been over. Let's look at the calendar. So if I click on the calendar, you're going to notice that before when I was not logged in, it only had public hearings, public meetings, and holidays. Now it's adding those things that pertain to me as a logged in user. So I can see my inspections that are scheduled. I can see when my plans that have expired or are expiring, and my permits when they expire or if they've already expired. So I can see that here. And if I wanted to access this record, I could click here on this link, and it's thinking, so give it just a moment. But it would take me, there you go. It's going to take me to these details, and it's going to actually give me further links to let me click on the inspection number and see the inspection record. Or if I want to see the parent case that this inspection is under, I can click on this link here to see that parent case. And it's just going to give me this detailed information and give me access to these links down here. If I wanted to get rid of this box and close it, I can just click close, and it's going to take me back to where I was on my calendar. Notice out on the calendar, I can also look at a month view or a week view. I can also look at a day view if I choose to do so. So those are my options there. The next thing I want to show you is I want to come back to this apply button. And I want to show you what the application process would look at like from this point of view. So you guys have this handy little drop down right here, this little caret facing down. And if I click that, it's going to pop out and it's going to give me my options for permits and my options for plans. So these are the permits that I can apply for. If I want to see all 32 types, I can click this link right here and see those types. If I want to apply for a plan, there are 8 types and I can see all types here. Okay, this is just showing me a sample of those types. So if I see what I need here, I can click directly on this link and it will take me to that permit application. If I don't see what I'm looking for, I can click all 32 and it will open this screen, which is called the application assistant. So the application assistant, you can search an application by names and keywords here. You can also filter by all, which would show me all of the things that I can apply for on this website, permits and plans. It's not filtering by, it's not separating out the permits and plans. If you click the all, it's showing everything. Okay. You also have trending. Sometimes people are like, what's up with the trending button? Well, the trending is there so that if there are permits that are being applied for more than others in a certain period of time, it will show under trending. And this can actually be helpful if you have any trending seasonal permit types or plan types that you do. If those keep coming up in one particular season, then you can access those here. So this is just telling you what's being applied for and what is being applied for most often. You can go to the My History tab, which will show you what you've applied for so far. So you can see I've done 3 site development plans. I've done 3 construction, new non-residential construction. I've also done 2 residential renovations. I've done some upgrade and preliminary plat. It shows me all the ones that I've done. And if I want to apply for those again, then I could start a new application for a new project by clicking apply. Now you're going to see show categories. Okay, categories are going to be listed on the left. It just breaks it down for you a little bit underneath the all tab. If you want to hide those, you just click the hide categories. This button where it says show my templates, if you have permits or plans that you're applying for often, and you have certain information that you want to save, and I'll explain this a little more when we're actually in the application itself. You can actually save whatever step of your application you're on, you can save that as a template, and it will save that information under your templates. And you would just click Show My Templates, it would list them here, and you could apply using that information that has been put in previously. So I'll explain that a little more when we go through that process. I can search by my permits. So this is going to show me all of the permit types, and I can search by plans, and this will show me all of those plan types. Again, I don't have to come to this screen if I am going here, clicking on that little down caret, and I'm finding what I want right here. Okay, so let's say we're going to apply for a permit and we want to do a residential renovation. So I'm going to click on that permit type, and now it's taking me through the application process. So you see there are 6 steps. You have location, type, contacts, more info, attachments, and review and submit. Okay, it will not let you go on to the next step unless you have the required information on the current step. Notice on this screen that I've got a couple of buttons here. I can create a template based off of what I've done on each step. So let's say I'm always going to have the same location, I could add that address and I could save that in a template. If I'm always going to do the same location and type, I can save that as a template. So as you're going through, if you want to save a template, that's how you could do that. And you would just click Create Template, and it would save what you've got so far in this process as a template. I also have the Save Draft button. It doesn't matter what step you're on, you're going to have this button available, and you can save this as a draft, and it will show up in your dashboard where I showed you that draft card. So it's prompting me first to add a location. Notice the location is required. I cannot change this drop down, and I'll show you what else is on this drop down once we add this location. If it says required, I have to do this before I can go on to another step. So I'm going to add my location by clicking the white plus. I can add my location based on address. I can also search by parcel. So I'm just going to search for an address that I've been using this week, and it's actually your courthouse address. It's searching through, and it will tell you once it finds that address. And it's being a little slow today. If I was to do by parcel, excuse me, if I was to search by parcel, it would look very similar and it would give me an opportunity to search by the parcel number. Sometimes you have to be a little patient with it as it's searching through those locations. And if it's taking a while and you're like, what's going on? You can also try refreshing your page. It's going to take you back to your dashboard, and I can go and see, I'm sorry, on my dashboard, it doesn't save it as a draft because I did not save it. So I'd have to go back to apply and drop down, and it will take me back in here. After each step, it's always good to hit that save draft. We were only on the first step, so I hadn't hit that yet, but it's good after each step to hit save draft. That way, if what just happened to me happens to you and you need to refresh and it takes you back to your dashboard, it will save up to the point that you were at. So let's see if it will cooperate now. Excuse me. We'll let you know if the location does not belong to county. So what's happening in the background is they're actually working on filtering out the non-county addresses. They're going to be putting in a geo rule for that. So, and part of the reason that might not have come out is because he might have already put that, your consultant for your county might have already put that geo rule in. So that might be why it wouldn't let me use that address. So I'm just going to choose one of these addresses. And I don't know if this is in the city or county, but there will be some filtering of the addresses so that you're not getting locations that don't belong to the county. So he may have already done that. I don't know if Alamo Street's in the county or not, but but that is going to be happening if that's not happened already. So once I have the address information, I can click search and we'll see if it will search for us. There it goes. So it just tells you the rest of the full address. And then by clicking the add button here, it will add it as my location. And again, sometimes you have to be a little patient with it because it's putting that information into your application. And it depends on your Wi-Fi. Mine might be going a little slow today. So notice now that it has my location, I do have the option of adding another address here if I need to, and it will let me drop down this box. So let's say that the location that this permit pertains to is this address right here on Alamo Street. But let's say I don't want my bills mailed there if I'm getting a mailed bill or if I'm getting anything to that address. Maybe I want to add in a billing address. I can do that here and I could choose billing and then add whatever address I need to in the same way that I added this address. Notice also once it puts that address in, it has a checkbox for main address. The main address, if I uncheck it, it won't let me right now because I only have one in, but if I did add another one in, it would let me uncheck it if that's not the main address. Main address means this is where this permit is happening, where this applies to. It also gives me the parcel number, and I can do the same under parcel if I have a second address added. If I need to remove the address that I put in, I can click the remove button. So I'm going to save as a draft. It'll tell me my save has been successful, just in case for some reason it doesn't cooperate and we need it to refresh again. And I have a feeling it's my Wi-Fi. So if I click the next button, it's going to take me to the next step because I've fulfilled the requirements of this step. Now I'm on the type. Since I've already chosen my permit type of building residential and it was a renovation, this is locked in and I cannot change that. In order to apply for a different permit type, I would have to go back and I would have to either go to the apply and then choose the correct type, or go back and it would take me to my dashboard and then I can go to apply and click the correct one that I'm looking for. You can put a description in if you need to here. So let's say renovating, let's say I'm renovating my porch. Okay, so I could enter a description here. You don't have to, it's not required. Notice that the red asterisk, this means that this was a required field and this one's locked in because this is the type. This one does not have the asterisk, which means it is not required. So I can click next. Notice that the county has added some instructions here. It's telling you to please add the licensed and registered plumbing, electrical, mechanical, or other licensed contractors here to expedite the review and inspection process. And the necessary professional contractors not included here will require uploading a certification licensing documentation before a permit is issued. So they have some specific instructions here that can help you expedite your process, and telling you of some other requirements as well. So I'm listed as the applicant because that's who I'm logged in as. If I needed to add another contact, for example, if I had my electrical contractor, okay, and you see there's some other options here as well. But let's say I had my electrical contractor and I wanted to add that person, I can do so by clicking the plus button. Now I have some choices here. I can change my contact type if I need to, and I can search. If I'm searching and I'm not finding who I'm looking for, then I can enter a contact manually if I need to. I can also view my favorites. So I'm going to search a contact I know is in here, and this is just one of our other trainers that's been out before, and this is Kathy. So Kathy is going to be my electrical contractor. She has a little star over here, and that's how I can favorite and unfavorite. If it's colored in blue, it means she'll show up under my favorites. If it is not, she won't. So if you want to favorite a contact, it'll first look like this. You will click the star, and then they will show up under your favorites after that, which could be helpful if you're using the same contacts over and over when you're applying. To add her to my application, I just click the add button. And again, I could add manually from that screen if I needed to. So I just want to show you what that looks like real quick. Let's say I have my plumbing contractor. If I needed to enter them manually, I can click enter manually and I can put their information here and submit. Also under favorites, you'll see Kathy shows up because I added her as a favorite. If I need to go back to my application, I need to click this link up here. If I click on anything up here, anything I haven't saved is going to go away, and I have to get back to that application. So that takes me right back to where I was, and I have my contacts here that I want. The required one was the applicant, and that auto-filled because that was who I was logged in as. I can now click my save draft so that it saves it. Save has been successful, and then next. Again, if I'm always applying for the same location, the same type, and this with the same contacts all the time, I could save that as a template and that would be available in my templates. So here I see more info. This is information that the county is requiring um, on top of the information that you're already giving, just so that they have this information. Some of your fees may be based off of these fields. And some of these just may be information that is required. And it's going to give you some instructions. If a field has the asterisk and it's red, it's going to be required, which means it will not let me move on to the next step unless I have filled this out. So I'm just going to make up some numbers here. I'm not a builder, I'm not a contractor, so don't judge my numbers because I have no idea. But I'm just going to make some up and put these in here. You would put your actual numbers, of course, that would pertain to your project. Hmm. Let's see, my patio. Okay, so now you'll see I've got, if, and by the way, if I want to go straight to the top, I can click this top button. It'll bring me back to the top. I can go down and I can look and you can see they are no longer red. They have the red asterisk. That just means it's required. But now these fields are not red anymore, which means I've filled out all my requirements and I can go to the next section. I can do that by clicking next section. I can also come to the next button here. Hmm. Once I'm on attachments, there are 2 required attachments here. Okay, that the county is requiring, and it will tell you what it is. It will tell you what type of document is supported. You'll see that a PDF is required here and a PDF is required here. That's just because of the system that they use for their e-reviews. In order to review and mark up those documents, they have to be PDFs. So I cannot go on to my next step unless I have these documents. So before you do an application, it's always a good idea to have those documents available. Otherwise, if you need to go and collect them, you can save the draft and then you can come back to this step later on. So I have some sample documents that I'm going to add. Let's see, I'm going to do, give me 1 second. I have some samples. I'm just going to add my samples here. And I'll just do a test one. Okay, I could also add another attachment here. I would have to search in this list of types. And so let's say I have maybe an elevation certificate. Again, it's going to tell me that they will only accept a PDF, and then I can attach that type. If I click the little I up here, it gives you the attachment instructions. So if you need those instructions, then you have those available here. And it's just reminding you of what you're doing and what you're attaching here. If I needed to remove an attachment, all I would simply have to do is click the remove button. Hmm. Okay, so now I've got my required attachments. I'm going to click the next button. Notice it gave me those little blue bars across the top, and that was just showing me that it uploaded my files. If it has a problem uploading your files for some reason, it will prompt you and let you know at that screen. But usually there's no issue as long as it's a PDF and it's the right file type uploading. So this is the last step of your application. This is the review and submit step. And once you are on the review and submit step, this is your chance to go through and review the information that you've put in so far. So it's telling me my location information with the parcel number, the basic information that I'm renovating my porch, the contacts, more info, and my attachments. This is also another way that you can confirm that your attachments have gone in because they will be listed here. So something just to note, once you submit and this actually becomes a record, there are certain things you cannot go back and change. For example, you cannot go and change the type because we couldn't change it within the application either, so you're not going to be able to change it after. You can add further contacts later on. Your more info, you cannot adjust these, but if they do need it to be adjusted, you could let the county know and they can adjust almost anything that is on here from the back office. The only thing that cannot be adjusted from the back office or from the CSS site is the type. That will always be something that's locked in. So if I'm good with my information, I can click submit. It's going to take a moment. It gives you a little blue bar up here at the top, and that just means it's thinking, it's pulling all of that information, and it's creating the record. It will give you a little banner here that says that your permit application was submitted successfully. Please click the Add to Cart button to pay for the invoice fees to complete the process. So you can do that right from here if you want to. You can add them to your cart. You could also come down here and click Pay Now, which will then prompt you to add those fees to your cart and allow you to pay. And then this is showing you the record that's been created. So what happens from this point is your permit number right here is going to send a notification to the county office, and it's going to tell them that this application has been submitted through the CSS website. This will be the same record number on the county side, on the back office side, that they would see. And so if you ever needed to call or you needed to give information or get information about this permit application, you could use this as your record number. They could also search by the contact name that is on the record as well. So you'll notice here it's giving us just the summary. We're currently on the summary tab, and it's telling us the information up here that we've put in. Later on, as things are going through the process, once you have an issue date, that will be auto-filled here. The district is really the precinct. If they choose to associate this permit, excuse me, to a precinct, then they will fill that in here. If this record was assigned to a particular user in the county side on the back office, it will be indicated here. And that could be helpful if you're calling in reference to your permit number and you're trying to find out some information later on. If they know who it's assigned to, that could be helpful as well because they would know who to direct you directly to. If there was an expire date, that would be listed here. It's going to also give you a finalized date once it's all finalized, and the description that we put in on our application can be found here. They would also see the description on the back office side. So down at the bottom, you've got some tabs. In these tabs, you've got your summary. This is going to let you monitor and track the progress of your permit or plan application. So right now we're at 100% not started because they haven't touched it yet in the back office and they haven't started the process yet. But you can come back and you can check every now and then to see how far in your process you are. It will even show you the steps of the workflow and what's coming. So you can see first they're going to review the accuracy of your application and they're going to check to make sure that your fees, your $25 processing fee is paid. Okay. Once that happens, then it will move on to the next step. They'll have a verification and interview process. Once that's complete, they'll mark that off and you'll continue the process from there. Okay, if it tells you site and a dash, this is referring to an inspection. So you see down here, you also have plumbing rough dash. That is an inspection. The same thing for your other inspections down below. Okay, and once those have been completed, it'll say dash passed or dashed failed or any other, partial pass, that kind of thing. It'll give you that update. As you're going through the workflow as well, you'll see that when these items are addressed, that they will change color. So green means that this step is complete and it's moving on to the next step. If it's red, it means that something did not pass or something needs to be resubmitted or whatever for that step is happening. Something didn't, go incorrectly or something needs to happen and be changed. If you see that something is kind of an orangish yellow and marked out, it means that they've decided they don't need that step and or they talk to you and you guys have decided you don't need that step and it means it was skipped. If you see a purple line, it's only going to apply for inspections, and that's going to mean a partial pass. So that's just a little information. This gray you see right now just means that this step hasn't been activated in the workflow yet, and which is understandable in this situation because it's just been applied for. Hmm. Next to your summary tab, you have locations, and that's just showing you what locations that you've put in. Okay, notice it won't let you add any more right here, but from the back office, if for some reason you needed to add another location, you could do so by letting them know and they can add that. Your fees, it's going to give you a red exclamation point if there are unpaid fees. So if I click that, it's going to tell me about my unpaid fees on this particular application. And it's going to tell me what my fee is, if I've paid the unpaid portion, and give me the opportunity to add it to my cart. You'll also notice it gives you access to your invoice right here as well, if you wanted access to that invoice. Going back to our tabs, and you have some other things you can do here too. You can look at fee summary, remaining fees, paid fees. Next tab, permit details, main menu. If you go to main menu, it's going to take you back to your dashboard, by the way. If I click on inspections, which is the next tab I have, it's going to say, tell you that kind of the status of your inspections. Currently, there are no records to display because there are unpaid fees on this permit, and you cannot request inspections because the permit hasn't been issued. And it's going to tell you a list of the inspections that are coming. And if it is a reinspection, it would tell you as well. So that's just some of your inspection information. Up here in these links, you have the link just like we did under view when we went to view up here from the bar and it gave us the option to request an inspection. You can also do that from the inspections tab of the record itself. And you can request an inspection if you have any available to request. If there are any optional inspections, you can view those here. Okay, there aren't any, so that's why when I click, it's not going anywhere. Next tab would take you to the next tab. Permit details takes you back to the summary and gives you those details. Main menu takes you back to the dashboard. The next tab is attachments. Now on attachments, this is one that you can change. Attachments are actually pretty cool because what happens is if something is under review, that means it's going to the reviewers. They're going to pull it up in their software called Bluebeam that they can actually do markups on. And when they are done and they've done their markups, you can actually view those by clicking the link here. Now notice it tells you the name of the document and then it has V1. If for some reason that document was sent back to you and they needed a resubmittal, they needed you to submit a new document, it will show you your markups here. There, it will have a button that says markups. That button will only show you text markups. So like if they type something on the markup program, it will tell you those there. In order to see the actual document, you click on the link. It will download it down here in the bottom left. You can open it and you can view that document. Any markups that they've done, and if they've already been in that Bluebeam session and then are done with it, will be shown here. So you'll actually be able to see if they have, anything that they've marked up, anything they've highlighted, or anything that they might have circled, or any text that they might have added as a call out. So you can actually see that here. And this will update with the version that they are reviewing. So if you did have to resubmit a document, you could do so by resubmitting, and then they would review it, and it would turn into a V2 because it would be the second version of the review. Okay, so again, I have another document here. It's telling you the version. It says V1. I can click that and I can open that link. It will download it again on the bottom left, and it tells me the status, which is under review. If I needed to add further documents or if I needed to do a resubmit, I could do so by adding those documents here. Oh, I don't know what happened there. That was kind of weird. Sometimes my mouse pad gets a little sensitive. So I could do that here. I can sort if I need to over here on the right by needs action, file name, category, creation date if I need to do that. Okay, so that's my attachments. Contacts, you'll see that the contacts that I had listed on my application, you can view those here. Okay, you'll notice it does not give me an opportunity to add more here. However, if you did need to add further contacts, you could let the county know and they could do that from their side if that was necessary. Subrecords. So once we have those inspections, basically any other record that's generated, um, like inspections, or if it is a review record or something like that, you'll be able to find those subrecords under here. Remember, this would be called the parent record because it's the permit or plan. And then the inspections or other subrecords would be here, and they would be subrecords. Some people might call them child records since this is called a parent record, but really it's up to whatever you want to call them. I call them subrecords usually. Your more info is just going to show you what you put in on that more info tab. You cannot change these from the CSS side. If these needed to change for some reason, like you had some updated measurements or something like that, you could talk to the county and they can tell you their process for that, or they would have the ability to change those on their end if they needed to. Again, if I wanted to pay my fees, there's several ways for me to do that. I can do that by adding to cart. I can go up if I already have added something to my cart and click on it and pay from there. I can also come back to my dashboard. It prompts me here to pay my fees, to add them to my cart. I can view my invoices. Okay, there's several places where I'm sure you've seen throughout where it gives you the opportunity to add things to your cart. So that is how you apply for a permit. Are there any questions that we have in chat that you would like addressed? I think I've answered the ones that were there so far. Well, if you guys think of any questions, feel free to let your county people know, or I will also give you my email if you need to contact me and ask a question. That's fine. But that is pretty much our demo of CSS today, and I would be happy if you have anything that I can address to help you with. If you are applying for a plan, just so you know, it's going to be the same exact process. You would just choose your plan type from here and fill out your application. And it takes you through those same 6 steps. And it also will give you the save draft if you need to as you go along. It gives you the opportunity to create a template. And it's pretty much the same process. It's just going to have a different workflow because it's going to pertain to that plan type. All right. Are there any other questions or anything that I can help with? If you don't have a location for a plan, um, you can choose a parcel if you have the parcel, when you go to add a location, but you have to have either an address or a parcel, or it will not let you go through the application process. So you have to have one or the other in order to be able to apply online. Any other questions? How are discussions on issues done? Well, it depends on the county's choices there for business processes, but you will have, for example, if it's something that's in review, let's say, let me find one that might have a review. This one doesn't, but if it was something that had a submittal that was being reviewed, you would have another tab here called review, and your markups or corrections or anything that they need to discuss with you would show up there. They can also send you emails as well from their side of the system. And there's also some automation that will send you emails as well, letting you know various things. And that would be something you'd have to discuss with the county. I don't know what their exact automations are set up looking like, but I do know there's some automations that will send out some emails and some information as you're going through the process. Be able to see the date on the calendar as to when the county is. So on the calendar, anything that you've scheduled through CSS will show up on this calendar. If it's something from the back office side, they have a calendar from their side as well, and they will see some different things. And from the back office side, you can add different tasks that you want to display. From here, I think it's only going to show you those inspections scheduled, plans expiring, and permits expiring. I don't think it's going to show you anything beyond that. It will show you on the review tab though, if there's something to do for a review. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I have one that has a review so I can show you. I did some yesterday. I think these all have been through the review process or they're waiting to go through the review process. But there will be a tab here and that will tell you some more information on the markups. It will not go on the calendar though. How they're taking payments, that's going to be up to the county. Usually online, there's only credit card or debit card allowed, but that's something you'd have to ask them. They're the ones that decide on their payment methods. So I don't know if somebody from the county office wants to address that or not. Um, for project engineer submits application, developer allowed to view his submittal independently. It would depend on who you're logged in as. The person who's going to be able to view um, from CSS is whoever's logged in, and then the person from the back office would have to be a user with the county. Hmm. Is there an additional fee for using a credit card? That would be something we'd have to ask them because I do not know. I haven't seen any as I've been going along and testing. However, they would have to let you know. Good questions, though. No, you can also, if you wanted to go into the office or to their county office and make payments that way, you can do that with the clerks there. They have ways to take payments from the back office as well. Okay, can you explain what you mean on viewing independently? So if you're submitting the application as the project engineer and you're doing it from here, you're going to have access to see that submittal. Okay, so if the engineer is doing that, then what they would have to do is they'd probably have to email it to you, or they would have to, you would somehow have to share a login or something in order for you to be able to see it. You also could have them email you from the back office as well if you wanted a separate email. That would be something you'd have to talk to them about, and they can email you straight from the system to send you that submittal information. Does that answer your question? Yeah, it's how the system works. I'm just the trainer. There, it has its pluses and minuses, but I feel like there's more pluses because it makes it more convenient to apply. Any other questions? I'm happy to answer. Okay. Well, that is our CSS demo. So if you don't have any other questions, I will let you go. But I'm going to put my email in case you do think of something. I don't mind answering those questions. There's my email. I see a couple more questions. Yes. So any of the permit types the county does will be available here. And if for some reason there is one that's not available, that's something you'd have to ask them. They may have a reason, but I would think with the 32 different types, there's got to be septic, so we can even look. Yeah, so you can see here's some septics. Hmm, okay. Um, as far as builders verifying, if someone has a professional license, it can be added to their, if that's what you're meaning right here, Rick, I think, yes. Um, if someone has a professional license, it can be added to their contact information from the back office. All right, next question. What will happen when we only need the initials of the engineer? Okay, that is something I'm not sure of. That's something we have to ask the county of how that process, if they just need the initials from the engineer, that would be a county question because that would depend on their business process. I don't know their business processes. I only can tell you what's in the software. Any other questions? I'll wait on here for a few minutes. Again, if you think of something that you want to, you think of a question later, feel free to email me that question. I'll do my best to answer. If it is about their business processes, I will defer it to the county workers. Um, Comments, yes, you can receive comments on some things, especially such as reviews. Um, there's not really a general comment section, no. Most of your commenting or communication will be done through email. And receiving comments or red lines, um, if you're talking about like markup, that kind of thing, you would receive that on a review. And you would be able to see what they've put as their comments or their markups through that attachment. So when you have a record that has a review, it would show up. Give me one second. I don't have a review, I don't believe right now, but when you do have one that has a review, you'll have a tab that says review, and that's where you can see those markups in those documents. If you wanted to contact them and respond, then you would email them. If you needed to um, resubmit, or you needed to, if they asked for resubmittal, then you could do that by clicking attachments and coming here and adding that attachment. All right. If there are any other questions, please feel free to email me. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I have another session coming up, so I'm going to prepare for that. But again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. And thank you for joining me today and watching my presentation. I appreciate it.